You're live.
Okay.
I call to order this month's meeting of the Hartford School Building Committee. I welcome all of us who are participating on the Zoom platform, and also every members of the public who are viewing the meeting through the Facebook and other platforms. We will have an opportunity. We usually, I should say, since the pandemic started, we've had to change how we do the meetings since we've gone on this virtual platform. So during the public participation part of the agenda, which is item number 3, and which will be coming up very shortly, I asked that that you send in your comments via chat. So if you are intending to participate or to send in a notice or in some way engage with the public school, the Hartford School Building Committee, you might want to take this opportunity now to think about what you start composing your chat. So with that, why don't we begin with the roll call of members?
Good afternoon, Mr. Melvin Cologne.
I am here.
Mr. Thomas T.J. Clark II.
TJ is just logging in presently.
Okay. I'll go back to him. Mr. Claudio Bazzano.
Here.
Ms. Kim Oliver.
You're muted, Kim.
Okay. Ms. Kim Oliver.
Oh, you're still muted, Kim.
She shows us connected, but she's still muted. TJ should be fully logged in now.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Thomas Clark II.
Here.
I'm going to see if we can get Kim to get unmuted.
By the way, hi TJ, welcome. Good to have you.
Hello, Mr. Chairman. How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Great to have you. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Good.
It's cold out here today.
We're getting ready to get started. We're trying to make sure that that Kim has a good connection. I think she dropped off the screen. Oh, there she is. Anyway,
she's still on, but she's muted.
I'll check back in with Kim to register her officially, but we can get started and without Kim, and then I'll check in once we do the minutes. Actually, just before we vote on the minutes, I'll check in to see if Kim is in. Is that all right, Tony?
Yes, and with 2 members present and an alternate, there is a quorum as of now.
Excellent. So let's get started with the minutes. Okay, so the minutes were sent out, and I don't think anybody made comments on them. So a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved, TJ Clark.
Second? That's Claudio, I guess.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Is Kim, are you on the call? I think Kim probably had I think Kim probably had to step away for a few minutes. So let's just take this vote and then check back in with her. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
I have to abstain. I wasn't present at this meeting.
Okay, opposed and 1 abstention. Very good. So the minutes are passed, and now we come to the part of the meeting where we asked the public to comment. And as I said at the beginning, we are fielding those comments now via the message functions on the platforms, on the public platforms, Facebook and the other platform that's available. So I will ask our meeting administrator, Stan, whether anyone has checked in with a comment.
There are no comments at this time.
Are there folks viewing the meeting?
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, there being no comments, let's move on to the administrative portion of the meeting. And Mr. Butkus, I guess you have an addition to the agenda?
Yes, sir. We have an addition. We'll call it item A4, which is an additional services request from Tecton Architects regarding the Buildings and Grounds building roof replacement project. So if we could have a motion to add to the agenda, please.
So moved. This is Claudio.
Second, TJ Clark.
All right, Kim, have you joined us? Kim, are you, okay, so Kim has been, apparently she's been called somewhere else. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 Abstentions, nays? All right, motion passes. So we are adding this to the agenda under A, and it becomes item number A4.
Yes. In addition, at the previous meeting, there was a remark from Councilman LeBron regarding change orders.
Yes.
And I just want, under administrative, I just wanted to show you a summary of change orders on projects that have occurred in the recent past. Weaver, of course, which is still approaching the closeout process. And you can see generally we've been very fortunate with very low percentages of change orders. The two outstanding items there, the Asian Studies Academy, was a project that was originally hoped to be a building-wide renovation. We ended up just having to do a small alteration to the project. And during the course of that smaller, nominally $13 million project, it was determined that the boiler plant was no longer serviceable, and we had to do work on replacing the boilers and the controls, et cetera, as a change order. So that's the major item that jacked up the cost of change orders on Asian studies.
And
The other item of note is the Burns roof. Many years ago, I have not. I wanted to share it with the committee first, and then I'll distribute to Councilman LeBron. On the Burns roof project, that started out with a request to replace a portion of the roof on Burns over the kindergarten area and then do some small items of work in the kindergarten classrooms. It turned out that the water damage from the leak in the roof was more extensive, which resulted in a total of $20,000 worth, 20%, just over $120,000 worth of change orders on that relatively small project. But those were the two unusual drivers. The rest of the projects listed are either major additions, such as HMTCA, or renovations as new for the balance of the projects, other than the obvious roof jobs. And moving to Weaver, we are running a tally of about 3% on change order value. This is based on the face value of the changes that have been approved. So generally speaking, we are fortunate to be well within and below the industry talking point of 5% change orders as being reasonable. As you see, we've actually ended up with, in the case of West Middle School, where we did not need all of the allowances that were included in the project, and ended up with a negative change order value. And so we'll look to get as close to those nominal numbers as we can on upcoming projects. Are any questions from the committee?
Just thanks to your careful management, we've been able to do that, and also to the assiduous work of the Hartford School Building Committee, of course. No, but thank you, Jack, for doing this extra work. And
Okay.
Any questions for Jack on this document? All right, hearing none. Again, thank you very much. Thanks also for the work you've done to keep the change orders that the collective group of project managers have done to keep the change orders at a under the industry standards. So, all right, moving on to action items.
Moving on to action items. First action item is change order number 47 to Newfield Downs for Weaver High School. The total value of this transaction is $8,514. I've got to get my attendees list out of my way so I can see my numbers. The items are listed herein. They are eligible for reimbursement. These items have been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Any questions?
So moved.
All right, second.
Second,
Second.
Kim Oliver.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is a purchase order to WB Mason. This is regarding an ice machine. Excuse me. The original ice machine that was ordered was not suitable for its use. I'm not understanding just how it was spec'd that way, but it was too small for the for use in the field house, for the trainers area. This is a net increase. We are getting credit for the original item. The net increase for a more substantial ice machine is $6,221.63, and we ask your approval.
Any questions about this item? All right, hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved, Claudio.
Second, TJ Clark.
All right, moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right, this was approved. Moving on.
Next, we have change order number 20 to Downs Construction for the MLK project. Total value of this change order is $257,198. The items are eligible for reimbursement and have been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
So this is a pretty substantial, much larger number. Are there any questions about this number? Here's a list of all of the items included in that change order. Any questions about this one? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved, TJ Clark.
Thank you. Second.
Second, Kim Oliver.
Thank you. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Nays, abstentions? All right. Thank you. This motion is approved. And I should say that all of us have a copy of these change orders. They were sent with they're part of the agenda. So if you want to look at the specific items before we vote on these, you can scroll up and down, or we can look at our own copy of the agenda that we received from Tony. All right, thank you. Jack?
Next up is an amendment number 6 to the SLAM Collaborative for fees at Buckley High School. And now that we have been able to reconcile the scope of the project to renovate the building, we need to add to their contract the value of fees to do the design development, construction documents, and construction phase services. That amount is amendment number 6, the value is $6,649,000. This has been reviewed by our team and vetted, and we ask that the building committee approve it thusly.
All right. Are there any comments? Can you say what the amount is again?
The value of this amendment is $6,649,000.
Are there any questions about this particular item or comments? All right. Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay.
Moved by Councilor Clark and seconded by Ms. Oliver. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right, this amendment passes.
Okay. Next, we have change order number 8 to Newfield Construction for the work at Buckley High School. These are items concerning partially concerning the Board of Ed office space, some items regarding the temporary print shop location, and also doing some exploratory investigations in the balance of the building to assist the design team. The total value of this work is $27,067. It has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Any questions about these items for the Buckley School renovation? Hearing none, motion to approve.
So moved, Claudio.
Thank you. Second?
Second, Kim Oliver.
Thank you, Kim. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? All right, this final item, this item passes.
Okay. And next we have the item we just voted onto the agenda as item A4. Purchase order increase number 1 to Tecton Architects regarding the buildings and grounds facility roof replacement. There was some additional investigation done to the roof, and rather than replacing everything in kind, there are issues with the water that drains from the roof, spilling to grade, and we'd like to pipe that water with internal drains and then connecting outside the building to a catch basin so the water would no longer pour on the grade. That will require additional work by both the architect, a civil engineer, and a plumbing engineer in order to take care of that work. The value of that fee is $22,540, and we ask that the committee approve this so that the design may continue.
And let me just say, this item was not reviewed by that's correct, Jack, right? This item was not reviewed by the change order committee.
That is correct. We just got this information late last week.
But it is of an urgent nature, so we've added it to this month's agenda because this work needs to get done. Are there any comments or questions about this particular item? Okay, thank you.
So this is Kim.
Kim.
I have a question, and thanks, Jeff, for providing, as always, the change order request. I think sometimes it's what I was going to say earlier, and I didn't, was it's sometimes helpful to know when things are anticipated versus the situation when, quite frankly, it wasn't. You mentioned the exploratory work was done. Could you just give us a little bit more detail that you can share with us about what was found? I know you're saying about the way the water is working, but I'm just thinking maybe just a little bit more would be helpful.
Brian, would you like to respond to that?
So we had met with the architect. It's been a couple of years since this project had first hit the table, and the codes had changed, which was going to change the composition of the roof itself. The insulation was going to increase due to the new codes. In doing so, more up there inspecting the roof, we'd realized that there was a shortfall on roof drains in all the 3 outlets. One of them spilled out into the open air behind the building, which the grade pitches to the building. The second 2, one dumped out onto the driveway, which is a hazard in the wintertime for icing. And the third one came out into the parking lot on top of the pavement as well, which is another icing issue. It made most sense to, as today's standards would be, to pipe everything together and run it to a catch basin, which is what this price includes. Involves a plumbing engineer, a civil engineer for the site work, and then the additional cost for the architect.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks, Kim. Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none, motion to approve?
So moves, Kim Oliver.
Thanks, Kim. Second?
Seconded, Claudio Bazzano.
Thank you, Claudio. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, this motion passes.
Very good.
We're moving on now to project status reports.
Okay, Sal, you're first up.
Not too much to report at Weaver. The windows that we were waiting on for the press box have arrived and have been installed. Really, the only thing left to do in the press box is paint the floor, which is supposed to happen this week. The waterproof door that we've been waiting on has been received. And as I mentioned earlier to Mr. Della Ripa, it's going to be delivered to the site and installed next Monday and Tuesday. Other than that, punch list is what's ongoing. We're down to a very small punch list in the final phase, for the pool area. And the only other thing outstanding is the final purchase of the equipment for the TV studio. We have finalized that, and SLAM was in the process of scheduling a meeting with OSCGR to get their approval to put that out to bid. And then the Weaver project will be at the point where we can finalize closeout.
Any questions? All right, thank you. MLK?
Brian?
At MLK, the main school is similar to Weaver and is in the punch list stage. We started with about 8,000 items. We're down to under 350. The punch list has been taking place on the weekends. Now that school has shifted to online, and Wednesday's the quiet day, if you would, or it's a hybrid, that they're going to take advantage of that in terms of getting the punch list completed. The gymnasium is a little behind schedule. It was supposed to be turned over at the end of October. There were some changes that were made and some unknowns that needed to be answered that have pushed it back a little bit. We're looking now at the end of November. Currently, the auditorium is still scheduled for the first of the year.
Thank you, Brian. And are there any questions on this item or comments? All right. All right, thanks, Brian. Moving on to the Burns School.
Toya, are you with us?
I'm here. Nothing to really update or report on Burns. Burns, we're about 95% done with the pre-K with the outside work. We will be removing the oil tank the week of Thanksgiving, and that should take us about 5 working days in order to complete that. And after that, the pre-K will be completed. In regards to the Burns renovation, we just completed our VE value engineering meetings, and we're going to go back to the state with our new numbers that we have in regards to the Burns budget. That's it.
Thank you, Toya. And that's referring to the fact that the renovations were actually going to cost a lot more than we had budgeted. So can you give a little background on that?
Jack, would you like to talk about?
Sure. We had an original shortfall approaching, it was slightly over $9 million compared to the monies that were provided under the construction grant. Since then, Toya and Claudio and the design team have been at it quite furiously to look at ways of accomplishing the goal at a much more moderate cost. To date, we've cut that gap in half. Given the statutory approval level at the commissioner's office, rather than going back to the legislature, we can get something north of $4 million approved with a satisfactory argument and showing our work, so to speak. We believe that we've accomplished that with the value engineering items that have been approved for inclusion in the project by Hartford Public Schools. And our next step, we're anticipating a response to a request for a meeting with their staff to be able to present our case. Discussing this with the director a couple of weeks back, it was shared that if we could bring the projected cost within that statutory allowance, that they would consider providing the supplemental funds. Expecting that will be approved at our next meeting with the state representatives. Our follow-on steps would be to to share this information with the city and start the process of approving the appropriation, a supplemental appropriation for the project. Early on, we thought that we were going to receive 2 grants, one for the pre-K and one for the building itself. In the end, the state chose to roll them all up into one project, which for all intents and purposes cut $3 million out of the dollars that we thought we had to invest here. If we assume that $3 million, which was already approved by the city council as being on the table, our net result is about $1.5 million that we have to request authorization to spend from the city. So in the grand scheme of things, we've effectively turned a $6 million gap against what the city has already approved down to something less than $2 million that needs to be supplementarily approved. So kudos to Toya and the rest of the team for helping to sharpen those pencils.
Any comments or questions from the committee on this item? Just want to thank the folks who are working on this for bringing the cost down, and also a thank you to the State Office of School Building Construction for their flexibility and their willingness to go back to the welfare for additional funds for this project, so that we can, meet the parents' expectations, the students, everybody's, the community's expectations around the school. So yeah, have we convened the meeting of the advisory committee for the school?
No, I had sent them an email last month in regards to the process and what we were facing. So hopefully we would be able to have a meeting after we meet with the state in regards to the budget.
Thank you. Moving on to Buckley High School.
Sal, you're up first.
Yep. Buckley High School, as you know, the central office has moved in and it has occupied the 4th floor. We recently were able to move the Welcome Center from 960 Main to their new home at Buckley on the 1st floor. The exception there is the entry lobby, and that is due to the fact that the elevator installation is still ongoing. For whatever reason, they're blaming it on COVID. The elevators got there later than originally anticipated, so they're in the process of being installed. And that really is the balance of the work. The elevators and then that small area around the elevators that needs to get finished. At least that's on the interior. On the exterior, they're in the process of finalizing the installation of the new ramps, walkways, and stairs, and that should be completed at some point in time next week. Other than that, the rest of the energy is being invested in the design of the balance of the school, and also all of the support associated spaces that are part of the Buckley project.
Thank you, Sal. Any questions about, well, there's another report coming, so let's wait for that. Cap?
No, Sal covered pretty much all of it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions on the Buckley School report? Or comments? All right, well, thank you. Thank you for those reports. Let's move on to the item C on the agenda, the Equal Opportunity Status Report.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, committee members. We haven't had much of a change.
You might want to introduce yourself.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. My name's Kurt Harrison, Nutmeg Planners, here to discuss the EEO numbers for the projects. We really haven't changed over the past couple of months, as you guys seen, with the project status reports, we've been winding down on the labor efforts. Prologue's still down. We did have a number of verifications that came in from Weaver High School that, again, we expect to put into the 30 percentile where we'd like to be. The Martin Luther King, we don't expect it to rise much above 27%. And we expect greater participation out of the Burns and Buckley high schools as we get into the larger renovation pieces. This is not related to labor, but with regard to the pre-qualification for the MBE, WBEs for the set-aside efforts for Buckley and Burns. There is a hard stop on the submission of applications this Friday. We are happy to report that it looks like we're going to go from about 64 names to 104. We've had great participation out of HEDCO and Salmon and MCC. So we're very thankful for their participation and help in getting the word out. That is it, sir.
Thank you. Any questions for Kurt? Going once, going twice. All right, let's move on to project closeouts.
We've heard nothing new from the state regarding the legacy projects, these 15 projects that are on the list from 2010 and prior. As we shared in the past, there are dollars that the state is looking to recover from the city on some of these projects that have already begun to go through the audit process. And I know that that's problematic for the city and everyone's looking for a solution to that. But until this slate of audits is complete, I do not believe that we will be seeing any final payouts for the projects that we have completed, such as the monies that they're still holding for the West Middle School project. And coming up soon would be the audits and final payments from the state regarding Weaver and MLK. So for those that are of the city council persuasion, understanding that probably will not we will not see additional capital cash flow coming from those audits, even though we're going to try to pursue them as quickly as possible. And that's all we have for closeouts.
All right. Any questions? All right. No questions. All right. Very good. Is there other business?
Not from our side of the table.
All right. Any other business from the committee members? I did receive a question concerning the Hartford High School football field. Is that something that we should put on the agenda for a future meeting?
Until it becomes something of a school construction grant nature, it does not fall under the purview of the HSBC.
Melvin, that's something that DPW is handling.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So
if the committee wants a report, that's up to you folks. Let me know.
I'll reserve that as a possibility. I won't ask you for that. And if I receive any more inquiries, I may bring it back up. But otherwise, it's great to know you're handling it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's all I had. So thank you. And thank you to the folks who have been, thank you to the members of the Hartford School Building Committee, to our guests here on the Zoom call, who participated in the call, to the project managers and the project administrators, and also to the folks who have joined us on the public platforms. And so this ends this meeting. I'm asking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Kim Oliver.
Thank you, Kim. Second?
Second, Claudio.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. Thank you, my folks. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.